Hello, everybody. Welcome to movie night. Today we are discussing Mona Lisa Smile. Mona Lisa Smile, directed by Mike Newell of Four Weddings and a Funeral, starring Julia Roberts and a few other people. I will outright say I did not like this. I did not like it for several reasons. But the performances were professional. They were fine. Nothing wrong with Julia Roberts. There's nothing wrong with Kirsten Dunst and Maggie Gyllenhaal. In fact, I like the Kirsten Dunst character very, very much. But
Mm.
what these students, so it's Julia Roberts, who's a professor. She gets a job at Wellesley College on the East Coast. And Jacob, it's a conservative college. This is who they are. She spends most of the movie complaining about it,
Yeah.
that they're conservative. But why do you ever ask yourself if it's so repressive? And her boyfriend in the movie, I can't figure out her boyfriend because she's dating one, seeing another guy. Um, that one of the her boyfriends in the movies is complaining as well. Do you ever ask yourself if it's so repressive and conservative, why are you there?
Yeah. I thought that was one of the actually questions I was asking myself the whole movie is why did she come from California to come here? That was never answered.
Go somewhere else. And so we and the other thing is that this is an art professor. Do we learn anything about art in this movie? Um, I didn't like it, Jacob, and I could talk more about it, but
Yeah.
what was your take?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I also can't give my recommendation on this film. However, I would say the first 80% of the film, I was like thinking to myself, what am I watching? Why do I care about this? Why is she here? Like similar things. Like if it's always like the admin's really bad, right? They're tough. It's the same old. The students are actually these students are really really well educated, really bright, but they also have their issues too, and it comes out. And I felt like, is this Dead Poet Society Part Two? It just
Yeah,
had that
a
feel,
little.
And then I'm like, is it a kid gonna kill themselves? What's going on? And so I was really waiting for that. Like, okay, what's gonna happen to one of these girls? They're upset, and it is uptight society, but at the same time, I was kind of starting to question it, Ruben. So I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, their younger or their older sisters would be Rosie the Riveters, and I'm starting not to buy some of the whole 50s was all just exactly like this. I don't totally buy it, where it's all kind of uptight, conservative. And so I just felt like they were feeding this. I will say that although the last 20% of the film, I said, oh, okay, things started to come a little more balanced.
Mhm.
Motherhood seemed to be not such a bad thing, with the Julia Stiles character. And so I like that piece, Ruben, but at the same time, it was not worth waiting till the last 20% of the last part of the film to say, okay, there's some things that are getting resolved.
So
Julia's,
her character, the Julia Roberts character, was sort of telling the students that if you want to get married and become a mother, it's a compromise in a way.
yeah,
You're compromising what you really want in life. Shouldn't you
right.
want it all? Shouldn't you have it all? Go
Have
to
it all.
college
Yeah.
and things like that. So she was kind of like laughing at or just sort of dismissing some of these students who wanted to get
Dismissing, yeah,
these these female students who wanted to get married, right?
for
Uh,
sure.
and I will say that at one point, the Kirsten Dunst character comes back from her honeymoon. So she missed a few days. And Julia Roberts was on her, hey, you missed your midterm, you missed this, you missed
Hmm.
whatever. And he goes, well, we're allowed that. We're on our honeymoon.
Yeah.
And Julia Roberts keeps barking at her. And at one point, Kristen Dunst says, it's a great line. Don't disrespect our traditions just because you're subversive, which was so right. I almost wanted to say, "Amen, sister." You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's you. If you're this,
Hmm.
paragon of virtue because you are a particular political persuasion,
Right.
that's for you. Maybe other people don't agree with you.
Yeah.
Let them live. Let them have their beliefs.
Give them their choices. And I think that's okay for a teacher to come in, and that's what she did. She came in and she shared her love for art.
Sure.
She was more into the more modern art, which they weren't really they didn't have too much knowledge of, like Jackson Pollock and things like that, which was that was cool, for them to have like you know, be able to not touch not touch the art, but at least be face to face to the art. But that being said, yeah, I mean, just expose them to that information without saying this is, if you don't do this, then your life is going to be miserable. Can I say something, Ruben? This week I read, it has to do with this film. I was reading somewhere on Twitter. I can't remember who the actress was, and she says, "I'm 60 years old. I decided to stick with my career. No, you know, no family." And she goes, this got me a little emotional. She goes, "I'm 60 years old, and I'm alone."
Yeah,
And I'm like,
that's. I mean, let's be honest. There's several people who
mhm.
there's enough people to say that. I will say this. I'm not
Yeah,
one of those people.
right. Yeah,
uh, and there and you know it's a reality. There are people who find themselves in their 50s and 60s
mhm.
who realize I made a mistake.
Right.
So I tell people, be sure you know what you're doing. You know, if you choose not to get married, look at what you're getting to. But I just don't like when you lord it over people and you dismiss their beliefs. Maybe we're being too hard
Sure.
on Julia Roberts, but it did feel like she was coming on quite thick there.
You know the ironic thing though, Ruben?
Yeah,
She made $25 million for this. This is the first time she made this kind of money. $25 million for this film.
right.
And then, you know, it had to do with the subject matter. And she wasn't hurting for sure. And to be playing in this field, you know.
I will say this about you mentioned Jackson Pollock.
Mhm.
I kind of want to, it's a little wrinkle. I don't feel like she gave us much art. I don't feel like I learned about art in
That's
this movie.
fair.
I was
That's fair.
hungering for some knowledge from Julia Roberts, and there wasn't much. So when the Jackson Pollock painting comes in, you know, the students are like, "What is this?" I bet you most of the audience is while watching is asking themselves,
Because
"Why
she's
is
not explaining what's so great about it.
she didn't?"
No,
She
you're right.
didn't explain it,
It's like,
and
yeah,
it
it's true.
wasn't until Van Gogh almost finished with the movie when she explained a little bit of the power of Van Gogh,
Yeah.
but not a lot. I mean, if you think about movies like Sideways, I learned a little bit about wine.
Oh, for sure.
Even movies like School of Rock, I learned about music. You learn like those are the better movies that get into the weeds a little bit of why this content is strong, and she didn't. So the movie didn't. We don't know why Jackson Pollock. I still don't know why Jackson Pollock is good. Anyway, um,
Yeah.
very anything else you want to say about the movie?
No, I would say that, you know, and you mentioned this, it had an array of great actresses from Maggie Gyllenhaal to Jennifer Goodwin, Marcia Gay Harden. I actually thought Marcia Gay Harden was terrific, maybe the best performance in the film. She plays this school marm, just jilted lover, right? Her boyfriend left her, or not left her, but married another woman, and so she's always good whatever she does. So the acting is great. It's just you like feel like, why do I care? And you know.
I really it started slipping into this real basic formulaic love story.
Yeah.
That was the least successful part of the film for me too. I really didn't care when it got into that. At least
Yeah.
with the school stuff, you can kind of look at and comment, but the formula, you know, the love story.
Yeah. And I think Dominic West was the love interest, right? From the
I,
Wire
I,
fame.
I
Yeah.
truly didn't care when it got into that. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. We both didn't like it.
No.
Mona Lisa smile, but tell us what you think, everybody, and we'll see you next time on Pod and Deliver. Bye bye.